and welcome to Travel Daily's Inspirational Women in Travel Asia. I am Michaela Connor, part of the IWTA committee and co-founder of IWTA, and I'm honored to be here today with Laura Holsworth, Managing Director, Asia Pacific for Booking.com. Welcome, Laura.
Thank you very much, Michaela. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Now, I took a look at your LinkedIn profile, as I do, and I'm so curious because you started in marketing for private banking, and then a couple of years later, you ended up in the tourist industry, and that has been like you ever since then. So can you tell us a little bit about kind of where you started and how did you jump ship from private banking to tourism?
Absolutely. So you're right. I started with a private bank, and when I first moved to Singapore, so I moved to Singapore in 2005, and I shortly after joined private bank in communications. So I was in marketing comms, and I was doing a lot of their financial reporting, so their newsletters to their wealth clients. And then I had an opportunity. I met somebody, and they said, "Oh, I've got a communications role in a travel company." Honestly, the answer was, of course, that sounds a lot more exciting, a lot more interesting to me. So I took the opportunity then to join the travel company, corporate travel company, and where I started in marketing communications, did all the comms, and then moved kind of into bid writing and the sales side of the communications, and then eventually into sales, and then through management. So yeah, it was a great leap, and I'm very happy that I made that move.
Now, I can see that you've led multicultural teams across regions for quite a few years. What's the most challenging about leading teams from different countries across borders?
I'm English. I live in Singapore. I've been living here, as I mentioned, since 2005, 18 years. And I think, honestly, the way that we lead should not change. I think you need to be culturally sensitive all the time. I don't think it is, I've got my culture, therefore I should be culturally sensitive to another, or I should adjust my style for another. We should always be culturally sensitive at all times to everybody. And my approach to leadership is generally leading with empathy and trust and care. And that translates, luckily for me, that translates across all cultures. So I think there are certain areas you can be more direct. There are certain areas where you can, position things in different ways. But to me, that is just not changing myself, but just being culturally sensitive.
And it looks on your journey, going from private banking into tourist would have been a challenge in itself. And then throughout your career, you stepped into different roles. How do you embrace change?
I think we have to be always embracing change. That's something that is the constant. I've seen that in every organization I've been in, every role that I've gone through. I think we have to embrace change with a positive mindset. That for me, I think, has been something that I've been able to be successful because of. I take everything with a positive view. And it's not always easy. And it's not to say that every day is a sunny day, but I think for the most part, if you go into it with, this is the way it is, I have an opportunity to learn, adjust, change myself, then yeah, change is always good. It's constant, so it has to be good.
Yeah, it's true. It is constant. And the world had been through a massive change in the last few years, for sure.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah, big challenge.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do when you come across big challenges? COVID was one, obviously, for all of us. Do you have any particular advice on how you manage that when you're feeling there's a big challenge and you're feeling, oh, this is just so hard?
Yeah, sometimes I can get very overwhelmed. And I think that when we see the mountain in front of us, COVID was just so unknown. It was almost like, the frog in the boiling pot. It crept up on us. And then suddenly it was like, bam, the water is boiling. When we went into lockdown, we could see it coming for a couple of weeks. And then it was so, the word unprecedented has been used more than ever in the last couple of years, but it really was. And I think that for me, that, like any other big challenge that comes my way in my personal life or in the corporate space, or when I'm facing different things, it's about breaking it down bit by bit. I know that I can't climb the mountain all at once, but I can take one step at a time, and I tend to do that. I even do it when I'm running and I don't feel like it. I'm like, just 5 more minutes, just do 5 more minutes, and then suddenly you've done another 30 minutes. So for me, it's all about breaking it down bit by bit, and it's a way more manageable.
That's good advice. What has been your proudest moment in your leadership career, or even before that?
No, honestly, the proudest for me, I wanted to get into leadership because I feel like there's an opportunity to help others. And so I remember the first time that one of the female talents that I'd been working with came and told me that I'd made a big impact for her and that she'd been able to achieve A, B, and C because of something I'd done or said to her. And I really think that was like, well, it touched me a lot to think that made a difference. And I've subsequently heard it a few times. I'm not saying it happens a lot, but certainly when I hear that, it makes me incredibly proud and happy that I'm able to make an impact for people.
And what attributes do you think, in your opinion, are really critical to have to be a good leader, to be a great leader?
Coming back a bit to what we were talking about leading cultural teams or multicultural teams. For me, I will always lead with empathy, trust, and care, but manage accountability. So there's two different views of how we achieve our tasks, our goals, our ambitions. So we need to hold people accountable, and that doesn't change in a leadership position. You need to, but you need to do it with a level of trust and empathy for that person. I've always been a believer, and I know it sounds maybe a little cliched, but if we take care of the people, then they will take care of the business. And that for me has always been true. And so that's something that I will always continue to do. And I would encourage others to do the same.
It happens to be International Women's Day in the month of March. And this year's hashtag is Empower Equity. And I was wondering, what does that mean to you?
It really means that we give this space to everybody in equal measure. So it's very much not an us versus them. It should never be women above men. It should not be men above women. And so I believe that equity really is about, it's a balance for both. And so I know, and I've been reading some articles, but also I've always thought about this, about mentorship. We offer, the first thing we do to an aspiring female is we offer them a mentor. We say, you should have a mentor to help you, either overcome some of your own concerns or, fill some of those gaps that you feel you have. The reality is, and for me, I've had mentors, I've had formal mentors, and honestly, were they helpful? In some cases. The most helpful to me have been always the informal mentors that I have found through people that I admire or people that inspire me. But what has really made a difference for me is sponsorship. And so I have been fortunate, and I'm going to come back to that word fortunate and lucky and how much women use it much more, or at least I see that. But I do feel fortunate and lucky that I had a very strong sponsor in the past, a male sponsor that didn't just advised me on what to do, but gave me the opportunities to do those things. And that really helped for me to propel my career and for me to kind of take the next step each time. So equity for me is being that sponsor, whether it's to a male or female and coming from a male or female. So I now try and do it, and I want to make sure, others, my leadership team, I ask them to do that, as well as other people in the organization.
Mentorship is a hot topic. You read about it, you hear about it everywhere. What is the difference between mentorship and sponsorship?
Yeah, mentorship is good. Don't get me wrong. I think it is very important. I always encourage those people that need some additional support to get a mentor. And when I see people who are now on their journey of leadership, I ask them to mentor others. So I'm a big proponent for mentorship. But for me, the difference is giving you the advice. So, and Michaela, you feel that you're not confident to speak on stage. Maybe you should go and practice it or look for, go and find an opportunity. Whereas to sponsor you, but hey, Michaela, there's this opportunity to speak on stage. I want to put you out there. I want to make sure your visibility is raised. I want to give you that opportunity to go outside of your comfort zone, because this is an area where I know you want to grow and develop. So I give you that space, or I give you the visibility to senior leaders that maybe not otherwise see you. So for me, that is sponsorship. It's the difference between action versus advice.
It's like me too. You're talking about speaking on stage, and I feel start sweating a little bit.
We all do.
So having great sponsorship, I can see how much is meant to you in your life. What has been the biggest learning as a leader from when you first became a leader to now with the experience that you've gained?
Yesterday we were having a discussion. We have a women in leadership program within Booking, and I'm one of the sponsors for my members that are on that program. We were given a long list of tasks that they have identified, the areas that they want to work on. And what I realized is some of these tasks are things that we need to just give them confidence that they actually are good at them. I think sometimes the first thing we do is find gaps in ourselves, or fault with ourselves, and feel like those areas we need to work on. When sometimes you just need positive reinforcement. Actually, you're already pretty good at them. But we're not good at everything. And that's something that I've learned over time, to not be quite so hard on myself. I'm not perfect at anything, but I know where I'm a little bit stronger. And those are the areas that I focus on. I want to close the gaps on the others. But if I can't, then I've got strengths that I will rather build on than try and be everything to everybody all of the time, because we can't be. So I'd rather, use my strengths than focus on my weaknesses. And I think that's something I've learned over time, and a painful lesson to learn. And I'm definitely not there, but I think that it's something. And I'll come back to a bit where I was saying about being fortunate and lucky. As women, when we strive to grow our career, we feel we've got to earn it. So we maybe go the extra mile. And I'm not saying this is a very big generalization that it's only women, because some men too, and not all women, but we generally feel we need to earn that space. So we work maybe a little harder. And then when we get there, we've earned it. We know we've earned it, but we feel lucky to be there. Really what we're lucky is that somebody recognized it. I always feel lucky. I feel very fortunate to be in the position I'm in now, because I also get to inspire, support, sponsor other aspiring leaders. But I think sometimes we've got to remember that maybe we earn our place.
I love that. That's great. I was listening to you talking about we normally look at what we're not good at. And it annoys me so much. But why do we do that? Because it's like human nature. We go straight to if I asked you, or someone else, or if someone asked me, what's your strength and what's your weaknesses? People normally would answer with, oh, I'm not so good at this, this, and this. And they'll be like, no, I asked about your strength first.
Yeah.
But they don't say it first. And they have a whole list of things that I really need to work on this. I really need to work on this. And then asking about the strength, it's like, I don't know if it's a humble thing that I shouldn't talk so good about myself, that I'm good at something. But I really reflect, and I do it too. And I always have to tell myself, like, why do you do that to yourself? You are good at stuff. Enhance the strengths, because it's so much easier than trying to fight the things that doesn't come natural to you.
Exactly. Yes, I totally agree with that. And I see it also when I'm interviewing people, right? I mean, where we focus. And again, there's a difference between men and women in this sense. Again, large generalization, but for the most part, there is a difference between what we'll focus on. I don't know if you've seen them. I'm sure you have the I Am Remarkable program. I think it was started by Google originally, but it's really about saying, facts are facts. And if you're good at something, it's a fact. It doesn't, therefore, we can take out the humbleness. We can just state the facts, because we're okay to state that 2 and 2 is 4. It's okay to state that when I do this, actually, I'm good at it. We move it into facts, and then it's a little easier for us to do.
So we talked about challenges and kind of how we get through those tough times. What is it that inspires you? What gets you up in the morning and helps you feel like inspired and motivated throughout the day, weeks, months?
Well, I think I'm in this fortunate position to be in a leadership position where I can hopefully inspire others who want to be in the same position. But also for me, I know we're talking more about women here, but I work for Booking.com, and I joined Booking because I fully align to the values that we operate under and our mission, which is to make it easier for everyone to experience the world. If that's not a mission you can't get behind, I'm not sure what is. But yeah, it's really about a world worth experiencing and an inclusive world. So when we talk about everyone, and these are things that inspire me and certainly make me want to get up and do more. So
where to in the future? Being a visionary, where to in the future? Where do you see yourself in the future?
Where I continue to add value. So within the organization, ideally, but also with my teams, taking that beyond. So any opportunities like this, where maybe we can provide inspiration beyond the borders that I operate under. is always a good opportunity for me. So yeah, wherever it takes me, I will just continue to see what I can do to help.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Laura, for your wisdom and the advice and sharing about your journey today. Really appreciate it. Have a lovely afternoon, what's left over in Singapore. And I'm sure we'll see you around in person, perhaps in Asia, in one of the countries.
Yeah, I hope so. Thanks so much, Michaela. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.